have over 50 shops here. And
that the president is coming to ENUGU state that is not even an APC state or the governing party state. It's a good thing. It's a sign of good leadership. It's a sign that His Excellency, the President, appreciates our governor, His Excellency Dr. Barrister Peter Ndubisi Simba. He appreciates what he's doing.
This project will expand ENUGU, make the GDP of ENUGU to come up by giving the people of ENUGU the main thing they need, which is governance, and also for them to be engaged when it comes to financial freedom.
Because in less than 2 years in his office, the Nsukka local government is receiving not less than 30 billion naira investment in our local government. We are the largest local government in the country, and we have 20 wards. In that 20 wards, we have 20 smart schools being built. We have 20 type 2 primary health care being built. We have 10-kilometer road per ward. As I'm talking to you, we already have His Excellency have finished building a bus terminal in Nsukka local government.
We are one. Everything in the Simba one do, in the do Hausa community. So we are thank you very much.
The commissioning ceremony was witnessed by various dignitaries, including the Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, Abia State Governor, Alex Oti, Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives, Benjamin Carlo, the Minister of Works, Dave Umai, and other federal and state government officials. Chinemerem Ikebnam, Signature TV News.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching from the correspondent on Signature TV. As I mentioned earlier, our big story for today is the just concluded general elections of the Apex Igbo Socio-Cultural Group Ohaneze Ndigbo that produced Senator Azuta Mbata as the President General of the organization. But before we go to that, I'm in the studio with the brain behind the support. Chinemerem Ikebona is one of our very own who covered and packaged this report. But before we go straight into looking at the report, Chinemerem, welcome once again. Happy New Year. This is the first time we are meeting on this show. So how did you spend your break?
Thank you very much. My break was well spent, although short. We thank God all the same. Happy New Year to you once again. All
right. So looking at the election of Ohaneze Ndigbo, you were there. Can you take us through what happened? How was the exercise like?
The Ohaneze Ndigbo election, like they said, because what I witnessed was more like a general meeting. Okay. I had earlier, from the manifest, we went straight to Government House. But when I realized that as time went, the time actually for the assignments or for the event was 10 p.m. and till 12. Okay. People were not coming in. There were no delegates, no contestants and all. So I, from conversations, I started hearing people talking about election going on at Ohaneze Ndigbo Secretariat. So we immediately moved to Ohaneze Ndigbo Secretariat, and from there they said they were doing verification, of course, of contestants who will be participating in the election. Okay. So went inside. I got a tag because it was kind of restricted. Got inside, but they didn't allow me to enter the gate, the main gate.
Okay. Oh, you know, when they announced the winner, we didn't necessarily know the other contestants who vied for that. So did you find anything?
Because like I was saying, they didn't give us access into the secretariat, and they said that was actually out of media coverage. But I sense that was where the major election happened, because what I witnessed at Old Government Lodge was more like this stuff that happened at the greenhouse, where you say those that agree say aye, the ayes have it, something like that, because they've already called the candidates the winner, and they're not telling you if you agree to just say aye, the ayes have it. So that to me was not
you didn't experience any process of voting or balloting.
No process of voting at that particular spot. The government lodge, there was no process of voting. What really happened was speeches from the governor in charge of the Southeast region, the host governor, the outgone President General, some other persons that gave their goodwill before they now dissolved the old committee or executives. And now talking about the election proper, I was waiting for the election proper, but what I saw was more like a swearing in of the new executives, where they already called them from the President General and their state. The state is coming from the secretary, the state is coming from, just like that, the deputy and all that. Those positions, the 15 positions, they all called, and those persons occupying those positions. And you're not hearing something like, if you're in favor, say aye, the ayes have it. So that's what was not an election.
Did you notice? Well, we wouldn't term it that yet, because, like you said, you didn't have access into the secretariat. So there could be other activities that may have taken place at the secretariat that you're not aware of. But one thing I wanted, was there any opposition of some sort when these declarations were being made, or was it a unanimous kind of agreement?
At some point, there was this guy from Delta State. I went to him actually to talk to him, but the people around were not giving him the access to talk. He was the only one that started making, unnecessary range in the government lodge when this whole thing was going on. So I think that was the only opposition we had at the old government lodge. Aside from that, no other opposition, because everybody, we are just the eyes have it. So there were no opposition except for the big guy from Asaba, from Delta State, that was not fully in support of what happened.
Okay, what were his concerns, if we may ask?
When you talk about elections, some persons will not really feels like there are positions that are not necessarily meant for a particular person. So he was just having the range, and when the range came, when they were actually giving a position for the secretary, I think. So I think he had that range, or rather, so I don't really know much, because like I said, I wanted to approach him, but they did not give me access to talk to him and all that. But he was the only one that made fuse. Apart from him, there was nothing like fuse. Everywhere was calm.
Okay, so it was just a gathering of like minds who had already known what would happen at the end of. Okay. So meanwhile, while that activity was ongoing at the old government lodge in Enugu State, we had reports in some quarters of the media that a former Secretary General of the same organization, who is also from Rivers State, Barrister Uche Okuku, was announced as the winner, and these have thrown the public into it has attracted a lot of reactions, particularly in terms of the unity that would move Igbo land forward. What were you able to find in terms of how both these two PGs, I may say, emerged, and
From what I got from my findings, I think there were more than two PGs. We had three of them actually, yes. And the fuse, or rather, the controversy started even before the election, because I had read an article that said the election was conducted like since 5th of January, yes, and that what was just happening on that 10th was just more like just to a caricature, or like just to feed the eye, so when I got the report from Rivers that Uche Okuku just came out and emerged as the President General, I was still not surprised. But what actually made me feel like what happened in Old Government Lodge was more like an affirmation of the Ohanese Ndigbo, was the fact that all the southeastern governors were represented at the Old Government Lodge. There you also witness people that had other contestants and their positions. But from the election that happened at River State, that they said emerged Okuku as the winner, I did not hear about his other executives. So I feel the controversy is normal. Like it's became, I would say it's more like there's no party or an organization that doesn't have issues. So I felt like it's a group of persons that did not agree to a particular thing, that took themselves out away from the family, and to do their own thing and also produce a PG. So that is where it is. But I think, like I said, I still believe that what happened on the 10th produced the PG, which is the new PG as of Abata Mbata and Azuka Mbata. And funny enough, congratulations keep shining in from different angles. The president congratulated him. The governor for River State congratulated him, and even yesterday he went to go and visit governor for ENUGU State. They had a conversation, and everybody are willing and accepted. They're already accepting the outcome of the election. So I feel up to now, Uche Okuku should just give it.
Well, like you clearly mentioned, there would always be more like a Judas in a pack of 12. Let's take a look at the national convention, if you may say, of the Apex Igbo Socio-Cultural Group Ohanes and Digo that took place at the Old Government Lodge here in Enugu State. Let's have the report.
The Apex Igbo Social Group, Ohanes and Igbo Worldwide, has elected new executives amidst controversies surrounding the President General position. The election took place on January 10, 2025, beginning with candidates and delegates verification at Ohanes and Igbo Secretariat, followed by the main event at the Old Government Lodge. Addressing the participants at the lodge, Governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodimma, noted that unity is significant, especially given the organization's role in promoting the interests of all Igbo communities within and outside Nigeria. Governor Uzodimma emphasized the importance of finding homegrown solutions to the problems facing the Igbo nation, particularly with the release of Nnamdi Kanu.
I would like to inform all of us that the governors of Southeast States came together and resolved to strengthen our hands and people, to give very strong support to our hands and people.
The host governor, Peter Mba of Enugu State, emphasized the importance of leadership and the need for collective action. He highlighted the value of speaking with a unified voice, as exemplified by the statesmanship of Igbo forebears.
But this epic event yet offers us a little room of introspection regarding the noble vision that inspired our forebears towards its founding. The ties that bind us run deep and transcend geographical boundaries, for we are bound by a common history.
The outgoing President General of Ohaneze Ndigbo, Fidelix Chukwu, whose tenure began on December 14, 2024, in his handover speech, urged the incoming leaders to prioritize continuity, sustainability, and collective guidance and accountability.
As I pass the torch to our incoming leaders, I urge you to remain committed to our core values and missions. Please continue to work together, support one another, and strive for excellence in all that you do.
The newly elected President General Azut Ambata expressed his gratitude to Igbo nations for their unwavering support and pledged to work for the Igbos' interests.
I see that our people are very excited, so let me restrict myself to say thank you to all the governors for being here in person and for bringing the magic touch that has made it possible for things to go in an orderly and very expeditious manner on this occasion. We are very encouraged by your leadership, and we will continue to collaborate with you.
Some members of the Electoral Committee also gave their opinion to the just concluded election.
Where a child is crying and pointing his finger at, either the mother is there or the father is there. So if the Igbo nation, previous executives of Ohaneze, the entire Igbo nation, have been clamoring for that release, that means that it's a very significant move to make for Igbo nation and for Nigeria in general.
This is not something that is strange. It's an election we knew would happen today. We always hold our elections on the 10th of January on an election year. And what we've been doing up until now is to rotate the positions from one state to another.
If you saw what happened, the positions were zoned to specific states. So the leaders in that state, the political leaders, the economic leaders and all that, the stakeholders in the state, met together in their states to decide who should go and represent them. So that it's not any rat-tat person coming up to the national and taking a position.
The transition marks a new chapter for Ohaneze Ndigbo, with Senator Azut Ambata from Rivers State at the helm, Okenwa Dinobi from Abia State as the Deputy President General, Emeka Sibudu from Anambra as the Secretary, and other 12 executive members representing Enugu State, Delta State, Ebonyi State, and Imo State as the existing constitution provides. Other governors present were Abia State Governor Alex Oti and Anambra State Governor Charles Soludo. Chinemerem Ikebunam, Signature TV News.
You're still watching Stories Behind the Headlines on Signature TV, and today's big topic is on the just concluded general election of Ohaneze Ndigbo that has produced Azut Ambata as the PG of Ohaneze, and we saw how why the process was ongoing here in Enugu. There was an announcement from Port Harcourt announcing Barrister Uche Okuku as the President General of Ohaneze, and this has sparked controversies. With me in the studio is Miriam Ikebuna, who covered that of the one that happened in Enugu State, and so far so good. We have been talking about the process and how this will impact unity and development of Ohaneze and Igbo land as a whole. So, Chinemerem, after the elections, I would like to take you back a bit. We've had messages coming from the presidency, former PDP presidential candidate Atiku Obi, and from other quarters, congratulating Mbata on his emergence. But on the other hand, the indigenous people of Biafra have thrown their weight behind Uche Okoko, which is not strange because of how their activities have impacted the southeast region, the economy and the social life inclusive. So what do you make of this development?
For me, I think that the IPOP people and also the indigenous people of Biafra and Ohanes and Igbo has not really been a thing together. Okay. They have never been one. Let me use the word. I think they have never been together, and that is what Ohanes and Igbo keeps clamoring and speaking for, about togetherness and unity. So to me, right from time, there have been these controversies around the IPOB and Ohanes and Igbo. So I'm not even surprised that they stood out for Okoko. And also, looking at Okoko too, you know, he had also been part of the MOSOP. So it also tells a lot why they are backing.
But he was a former Secretary General of this same organization.
Yeah.
And some people claim or believe that he is supposed to be the rightful person. In fact, if you look at the statement by Imam Powerful, he said he warned the Southeast governors to desist from any act or activity that would disturb the peace and of the region, if at all we have it. Do you think that Okoko was outplayed in this situation?
For me, I still think that anything can happen in an election. It has never been any fair game all the while in Nigerian elections, and Ohanes Ndigbo too has that record of having one or two misdeeds and, you know, dealings in running their elections. So I'm not surprised if the narrative comes out that he was outplayed. But what I still think is now that they have brought out somebody to be their PG and somebody from the same locality, somebody from the same state as Uche Okoko, I think they should just come together and do things the right way for once. I believe that Igbos, we have a long way to go. We really need the issue of this Igbo keep speaking, because there are things that if we can actually come together, agree that we have somebody, or, you know, stand together and, you know, understand leadership and politics, things will be right. But because we are not together, because we want to be our own leader, we want to do our own thing, things keeps going wrong, and also other parts of the country uses it against us. They use that disunity against us. So exactly. Now that Mbata has actually been elected as the new PG, why not come together? Let's forget about whatever that has happened in the past. Politics is politics. Election has come and gone. Let us focus on uniting ourselves, and if not for anything, you know, this man Nnamdi Kanu has been in the prison custody for over more than 6 years, if I'm not mistaken, since 2019. I think it's high time we come together and do the right thing.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. Because of time constraint, we would be hitting the brakes for now. It's been quite an insightful session with you on the new leadership of Ohanes Ndigbo and how it's going to impact the development of the Igbo land, basically. So we take it, this is where we wrap it up for this session, and I believe you had a wonderful time as I did. It's been a wonderful time. I am Emmanuel Tewasi, and until we come your way next week, stay informed, stay ahead. Bye for now.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Joining us from Sweden, all the way from Sweden, is Dr. David Okelue Ubunta. Dr. David, you're welcome to our program.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you know that two things that this government did on the date it came on board was, one, to take out the subsidy on petrol, and then two, collapse the dual exchange that we had that a lot of Nigerians had complained about. And these two policies or decisions have come with a lot of impact on the lives of the ordinary Nigerian. Inflation has gone up and the value of the naira has dropped tremendously. As at the day that this government took over, I think the naira was about 750 or so. As we speak, the naira has gone down to as much as 920, 930, 950 to the dollar. So, as an expert, what do you think the government should do now to improve the lives of the ordinary Nigerian, to see that the economy can bounce back, naira gets stronger, and then we can reduce this level of inflation?
Okay, thank you for having me once more. We, as Nigerians and elites and experts, at some point we agree that the fuel subsidy has to go. If you recall, in 2012, the government of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan wanted to remove fuel subsidy. And prior before then, we heard about the cost of this petroleum subsidy, denying the economy of other things that we could have used those funds, used in paying for subsidy. It came with a lot of opportunity costs, and there have been a cry that yes, subsidy has to go and subsidy has to go. We agree that yes, subsidy has to go. However, we expected that there should have been infrastructures, mechanisms put in place to cushion the effect of petroleum subsidy. You see, in governance, you wouldn't see it all until you have, gotten into that position. And I feel personally that the stoppage of payment of subsidy was hurriedly done because there were no cushions put in place. There were no palliatives put in place. Of course, we all know that if you remove subsidy, there will be cost of transportation costs will increase, which will now fuel increase in inflation, and then everything will skyrocket. However, we expected that certain palliative, modes of transportation, alternative modes of transportation should have been put in place before the removal of subsidy. Aside that, the refinery, we have refineries in this country, and none of them is working. We are expecting that there could have also been alternative sources of petroleum locally, so that if you are saying that the market price is going to drive the cost of the cost of petroleum products, then down here, because we have an agrarian society, what have we put in place to make sure that the impact of this subsidy is cushioned. So, in as much as we agree that yes, subsidy has to go, but we expect that certain things should have in place to make sure that at the end of the day, the people, the masses, do not suffer so much. We agree that there should be some degree of suffer, but extreme, suffer where you now have transportation costs. I live in Enugu. You have transportation costs, public transport from Wayek, for instance, to the secretariat, now costing almost about 350 naira to go and then to come back, something like that. And then you expect workers to pay this money and also go to work, 5 a week and all that. So we're expecting that, yes, there should have been infrastructures put in place to cushion the effect of transportation. There should have also be investments, put in place to cushion to help or improve production of foods, of food and all that. So that at the end of the day, when you remove subsidy, the impact will not be so much.
Fuel is one. Another is the removal of the dual exchange, where some people got the naira at a very cheap cost and others got it at a higher rate. But a lot of people thought that that singular move by government would have, increased rather than decreased the value of the naira. What do you think was done wrongly?
Yeah, I think the timing of removal of subsidy and of scrapping of the dual exchange rates, having them at the same time, I won't say is a very fantastic idea, because you are now dealing with two fundamentals at the same time. Okay, the exchange rate, yes, we agree that there were multiple exchange rates, and there is the need to synchronize.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Joining us from Sweden, all the way from Sweden, is Dr. David Okelue Ubunta. Dr. David, you're welcome to our program.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you know that two things that this government did on the date it came on board was, one, to take out the subsidy on petrol, and then two, collapse the dual exchange that we had that a lot of Nigerians had complained about. And these two policies or decisions have come with a lot of impact on the lives of the ordinary Nigerian. Inflation has gone up and the value of the naira has dropped tremendously. As at the day that this government took over, I think the naira was about 750 or so. As we speak, the naira has gone down to as much as 920, 930, 950 to the dollar. So as an expert, what do you think the government should do now to improve the lives of the ordinary Nigerian, to see that the economy can bounce back? Naira again.
Welcome to Global News on Signature TV. I am Barry Kumo Ado. In the headlines, massive onslaught and crime burst in Anambra State as Homeland Security law comes into effect. Nigeria requires 18 trillion naira to address road infrastructure challenges, UMAI. CNG committee to implement safety measures against gas explosions, Minister. Severe cold forces Trump inauguration indoors, and Gaza ceasefire deal first hostages expected to be released on Sunday. Stay with us.
We are local.
We are right now with the wife of the man that was
Why the main market is in chaos? People.
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye.
we have taken the vote by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
There's been a massive onslaught against criminal hideouts in parts of Anambra State, resulting in some notorious bandits being neutralized and arrest of other suspects. This followed an offensive launched by the Joint Security Team in the state at the dreaded forest in Ogbunka, Orumba South local government area, where over 5 bandits terrorized in the area were neutralized, and Ufuma in Orumba North, where suspects were arrested and arms recovered. Operatives of a special anti-cultism squad, ENUGU, while patrolling on the morning of 15 January 2025, also intercepted 3 occupants of a black-colored Lexus 330 SUV without a plate number at Kwata Junction, Oka, who confessed to have stolen the car at Isuneocha in Oka North. Meanwhile, the Anambra State government's Operation Clean and Healthy Anambra, or CHA Brigade, a set of 2 brutals used as hideouts for criminals, and arrested and paraded 23 persons suspected to be engaged in different illegal activities. The brigade also rescued 27 underage girls being trafficked for prostitution in the brutals. Then a raid in Amobia, Oka South local government area, by an enforcement team of Operation Clean and Healthy Anambra, led by the Managing Director, Comrade Celestine Anere. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Enugu State Command, Commander of Narcotics, CN, Abel Wadhai, has emphasized the need for stakeholder engagement in the fight against drug abuse in Enugu State. Wadhai made a call during a 1-day workshop on drug abuse prevention for women and youth, where he stressed the importance of collective efforts to tackle the menace. The workshop with the theme, War Against Drug Abuse in Enugu, is part of a broader initiative to address drug abuse and advocate for rehabilitation homes for victims.
Don't be political. Be apolitical, as you just
The chairman of the Enugu State Traditional Rulers Council, Igwe Samuel Asadu, echoed Wadai's sentiments, highlighted a need for federal, state and local governments to collaborate and find effective solutions to eradicate drug usage in the state. The River State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, has charged the newly appointed Commissioner of Police in the state, Olugbenga Adepoju, to partner with sister security agencies to tackle pressing challenges of cultism and kidnapping in the state. The governor will receive a new police commissioner and senior officers of State Police Command at Government House in Port Harcourt, told the CP to guard against fraternizing with politicians and attending nocturnal meetings that could further fuel the existing political tensions in the state. Governor Fubara told him to leverage on his extensive knowledge of the terrain, having served in the state, to effectively curtail criminal activities.
Don't be political. Be apolitical, as you just read in your paper. Don't go to nocturnal meeting in people's houses and in the morning you come and declare war in Rivers State. That's the only advice I'll give to you. On our own part as a government, we will continue to support you to make sure you succeed. Your success here is more elevation for you. If you have a very bad record here, whether you like it or not, it will one day, in the course of your profession, affect your growth. We will not ask you to do something that is unprofessional. I've never done it before. I'm not going to do it in your own time. You're not a greenhorn here. You already know the terrain. You've been operating here. Ensure that the major challenges that we have presently are the issues, first, issues of cultism, issues of kidnap, which is within the outskirts of the town. Come up with your own plan. We'll give you all the necessary support.
Adepoju officially assumed office as the 47th River State Commissioner of Police on January 4, pledged to enhance intelligence gathering and response mechanisms to combat crime. He assured the governor that he will be apolitical in the discharge of his duties.
I'm fully aware of the complex security challenges we face. Let me assure you, sir, Your Excellency, that under my leadership, the River State Police Command will confront these challenges with determination and innovation. We will strengthen our intelligence gathering capabilities, enhance our rapid response mechanism, and most importantly, foster deeper trust and collaboration with the communities we serve. Our command will remain firmly apolitical, standing as a neutral and impartial institution dedicated solely to upholding law and order. This commitment is vital to maintaining the trust and confidence of the people we protect, while we will engage constructively with political leaders and key stakeholders to secure necessary resources and support. Our engagement will always be conducted with professionalism and integrity.
The Nigeria Police Force said its operatives had arrested 2 suspects for running an illegal weapons manufacturing factory in Se Akamabe area of Kwande local government area in Benue State. Police also announced the arrest of 2 suspects for murders in Kebbi State. ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, Force Public Relations Officer, made this known in a statement in Abuja. Adejobi also announced that police operatives attached to the Delta State Command raided an apartment belonging to a notorious Ayer confraternity member named Prosper Akeni. The police spokesman said that security operatives recovered guns and 25 rounds of ammunition from Akeni. 32 was also alleged to be a hitman for the cult group. Adejobi said that the suspect confessed that the guns recovered belonged to his cult group and that he was in custody of them as the #1 man in the group. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority and the Presidential Committee on Compressed Natural Gas Initiatives are working on measures to prevent future explosions in the country. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, Ekmerikpo Egbo, disclosed this while presenting the Ministry's 2025 budget of 4.25 billion naira to the National Assembly Joint Committee on Petroleum Upstream. They assured that everything possible will be done to ensure the use of CNG does not cause harm to the people.
Involve the NMDPRA, the regulator, the standard organization, to liaise with the presidential initiative and ensure that for the installation of the equipment in the vehicle, in the conversion, it should be certified centers. So far, our investigation has shown that those ones that you have explosion has been done by illegal outfit, which we are working on making sure that they don't operate. So we are really on it. Of course, we know we are beginning something that is new to our country, Nigeria, to cut down the costs. But we should expect some of these accidents at the very minimal level. As we perfect other countries that make use of this, like you look at India and other countries, they had their own share of accidents across the line. But they try to adjust as they move on. So I can assure you, CNG has come to stay. And we will do everything possible to make sure that we curb all those incidences as we progress.
The lawmakers had inquired about the percentage of Nigerians currently benefiting from a compressed natural gas CNG program. Senator Natasha Akpoti emphasized the importance of prioritizing safety in the CNG process, while Senator Victor May sought clarification on when the ongoing gas pipeline infrastructure project will be extended to the southern regions of the country.
I need to know, are you actually right now conducting the adaptability of the CNG project to Nigeria? Or we just see what happens in China, see what happens in America and think, bam, it can also work in Nigeria. We must be careful in localizing ideas that we see going on in other countries, because that could not work well, or even if it could work well, our infrastructure does not presently support it. Or maybe we could also take into consideration the fact that our roads need to be fixed so that we would avoid the bumpiness, on the roads. And then we'll also look into consideration the climate, which pretty much we have no right to control that. So please, I would like to know, do we actually have programs? Are you conducting research? Because the explosions are actually quite many, and that has endangered life and properties.
The chairman of the Senate Committee on Petroleum Resources Upstream, Jarigbe Agom Jarigbe, while adjourning the session, assured the ministry that the committee will provide feedback on their decisions in due course. Vice President Kashim Shettima on Friday arrived in Maiduguri to offer his condolences to the government and people of Borno following the killings of some farmers in the state. He was met at the airport by Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno, his deputy Dr. Usman Kadafo, members of the House of Assembly, and other senior government officials. Shettima expresses deep sorrow over the tragic incident, describing the killings as devastating. He noted that the incident resulted in significant loss of life, displacement of families, and disruption of livelihoods in the affected communities. In his visit, Shettima would hold meetings with the governor, traditional religious leaders, and other stakeholders to explore ways to provide support to the victims. The Vice President reiterated the federal government's commitment to ensuring the safety of citizens and promoting peace in the region. He also assured the people of Borno that the government was determined to enhance security, rebuild affected communities, and strengthen resilience. Vice President Kashim Shettima also paid a condolence visit to the families of slain soldiers in Maiduguri, Borno. Soldiers died during a recent terrorist attack in Damboa, Borno, even though they successfully repelled the attack. In the wake of a tragic event, President Bola Tinubu called for a thorough investigation to uncover the circumstances that led to the unfortunate incident. The President extended his condolences to the families of fallen soldiers, saying their sacrifice in defending the nation will forever be honored and remembered. Tinubu also commended the armed forces for their swift and decisive response, particularly the air component in launching effective retaliatory strikes. In his visit to Maiduguri, the Vice President, at the instance of the President, also paid a condolence visit to Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno. The delegation of the Vice President as Senator Kaka Lawan, Borno Central, Malam Abdul Kadir Rahis, represented Maiduguri Metropolitan Federal Constituency, and Rep. Usman Zainab, Kada Magumeri, Gubbio Federal Constituency. The police command in Gombe State has apprehended 4 suspects for allegedly vandalizing transformers in Gombe Metropolis. A spokesman of a command, ASP Buhari Abdullahi, said this while parading the suspects in Gombe. Said the suspects allegedly vandalized and removed armored cables from power transformers in the area. He added that the police recovered 20 meters of 300 mm armored cables, 20 meters of 500 mm armored cables. Abdullahi said preliminary investigation showed that the items were stolen from Transformer 1 and 2 at Gandu quarters in the metropolis. He joined the residents to be vigilant and protect public assets in their domains, as well as report suspicious persons and movements to security agencies. A spokesman said that the operatives of the command detained 21 other suspects for alleged criminal conspiracy, theft, possession of dangerous weapons, kidnapping, robbery, culpable homicide, among others. According to him, the suspects will be charged to court upon completion of investigations and reiterated commitment of the command to tackle crimes, protect life and property in the state. Sequel to an outbreak of yet another communal misunderstanding between Ifon and ENUGU communities, the state governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, has ordered that a curfew be imposed in the two warring communities with immediate effect. Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Oluomo Kolakpo Alimi, made this known in a press statement made available to newsmen in Osogbo, the state capital. To stop further escalation of the crisis, the governor has approved that a 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. curfew be imposed. Up ahead, Shettima reaffirms commitment to economic growth. 2025 budget, FEMA proposes 64.9 billion naira for maintenance. These and more after the break.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has reaffirmed commitment of President Bola Tinubu's administration to driving economic growth and transforming the nation's healthcare system. Shettima said this when he hosted Mr. Mark Maloney,
every minute,
the chair of trustees of Rotary Foundation, Rotary International, at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The Vice President commended the contributions of Rotary International and other stakeholders to Nigeria's development. He also affirmed Nigeria's readiness for economic resurgence, urging Rotary International to deepen its involvement combating environmental challenges such as desertification and deforestation through initiatives like the Great Green Wall Project. Shettima assured that the federal government will continue to invest in education to address Nigeria's youthful demographics. He noted that reduction was the ultimate game changer, that education was the ultimate game changer, which offered the opportunity for even the most disadvantaged to rise and make an impact. Earlier, Maloney commended Nigeria's strides in healthcare, especially the eradication of wild polio virus, contributing its success to strong government partnerships. Also, Professor Mohammed Pate, Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, commended the philanthropic efforts of Rotary International and the Sir Emeka Ofor Foundation, describing their contributions as life-changing. The Minister of Works, Dave Umai, says Nigeria needs approximately 18 trillion naira to address its road infrastructure challenges. Umai stated this during a discussion with journalists after defending the ministry's 2025 budget estimates before the Senate Committee on Works. He noted that the annual allocations in the appropriation bills were grossly inadequate to meet these demands of the sector. The President's administration, he said, inherited 2,064 projects in 2023, valued at 13 trillion naira, which when adjusted to current market realities brings the cost to about 18 trillion naira. Federal government had earmarked a total of 827 billion naira for the Ministry of Works in 2025 budget. Mpigi Barinade, who is the chairman of the Senate Committee on Works, also acknowledged the funding gap, stating that addressing Nigeria's road infrastructure requires substantial resources. The session ended with a consensus on the urgency of exploring additional funding options to meet Nigeria's road infrastructure needs. A total of 64.88 billion naira has been proposed by the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency FEMA for the 2025 budget appropriation for the maintenance of Nigeria's road sector. FEMA's Director of Information and Public Relations, Mariam Sanusi, in a statement explained the Minister of State for Works, Mohammed Bello Goronyo, who is the supervising minister of the agency, revealed this at the opening presentation of a budget defense for the joint session of the Senate and House of Committee on FEMA. The estimates comprise 4.9 billion naira for personnel costs, 33.468 billion naira for overhead costs, and 26.487 billion naira for capital costs. The budget prioritizes major trunk A roads within the 6 geopolitical zones, aligning with the President's development and economic recovery objectives of the Renewed Hope agenda. Proposed amount is less than 77 billion naira proposed for the year 2024. Chairman of the Senate Committee on FEMA, Usaini Babangida, on its part, frowned upon the practice of continuously constructing new roads without adequate measures to maintain existing ones. He noted that the allocation for road maintenance is highly inadequate due to the poor conditions of the roads. Malam Isiaka Dauda, District Head, Bainzing Ward, Buhari Area Council of the FCT, has pleaded with the FCT administration to provide access road to Kushibuyi community and its environs to make life meaningful for residents. Dauda, who made a plea in Abuja in an interview at the Minister of FCT, Yesum Wike, to extend its road project to the remote areas. He noted that linking communities from Kuba to Buhari town with good roads will not only open up the area for development, but would reduce security challenges and provide easy transportation. Dauda also described the lack of junior and senior secondary schools in the area, saying that students trek long distances to secondary schools in either Kuba or Buhari town. Wiki had in 2024 inaugurated the construction and rehabilitation of several road projects within the satellite towns. Some of these projects included the ongoing construction of a Saburi Day Road, the rehabilitation of a 5-kilometer Duse Usman Dam Road. The African Development Bank, AFDB, has reiterated the importance of advancing Africa's infrastructure development. The AFDB's Vice President for the Private Sector Infrastructure and Industrialization, Solomon Kwano, said this in a statement. Kwano said at the 39th Oversight Committee meeting of a new Partnership for Africa's Development Infrastructure Project Preparatory Facility in EPAD, IPPF facility provides critical financial and technical assistance to African countries, regional economic communities, and specialized agencies for preparing viable and bankable projects. It said the NEPAD IPPF Special Fund and the PIDA Special Service Delivery Mechanism, SDM, were critical in accelerating the bankability and financial closure of regional infrastructure projects across Africa. Michael Andres, Principal Project Manager at German Development Bank, KfW, and Chair of the Oversight Committee, emphasized the importance of maintaining synergies among various infrastructure initiatives and stakeholders across Africa. Maria Leadosa, Deputy Head of Division of Spain's Ministry of Economy and Competitiveness, acknowledged the challenging operational environment, encouraging the NEPAD IPPF's team to enhance efficiency and effectiveness in project execution through improved tools, indicators, and measures for stakeholder decision-making. The meeting covered several key topics, including the NEPAD IPPF Special Fund 2024 Media Report and Technical Assistance Fund activities. The World Bank has projected 3.6% average economic growth for the Nigerian economy between 2025 and 2026 for the ongoing reforms by the federal government. The Global Bank stated this in its report, Global Economic Prospects, January 2025. It added that recent reforms by the federal government helped to boost business confidence. Profound among the economic reforms by the federal government has been the removal of fuel subsidies and controversial tax bills. According to the OPEC MOMR for December 2024, country's production, including condensates, rose by 11% from 1.333 million barrels in October to 1.486 million in November 2024. Analysts put the daily increase to 152,000 barrels a day, and about 1 million barrels increase between October and November last year. Cumulatively, oil output in December 2024 was 51.69 million barrels, a marginal increase of 1.9% when compared to 50.71 million barrels produced in November 2024. The Cable Index has ranked Anambra as a state with the lowest number of out-of-school children in Nigeria. According to the ratings, which sampled children between ages 6 to 15, Anambra has 0.29% out-of-school children, putting it at the peak of an annual national index, while Kebbi State recorded 66.7%, a state with the highest number of out-of-school children. Report shows that no Southeast state was among the first 20 states with the highest number of out-of-school children, but ranked the 21st state with 16.7% of our children out of school, while ENUGU was placed as the 31st state with 7.5% out-of-school children. Abia State ranked 34th, Imo 36th with 5.5% non-enrollment of school children in school, Anambra 37th with 2.9%. Anambra Commissioner for Information, Dr. Law Mefo, reacting to this development, attributed it to sustainable efforts of the Governor Chukwuma Soludo administration in giving all citizens of the state quality education.
Only that of happiness and great expectation. I must say we expected it. It is what should be seen as a justified outcome of the investment made in education by the Soludo administration. And it's back to back. It has gone down to about 2%. The goal of the Soludo Solution Administration is to pull it to zero outcome. So we expect that in a year or two to come, the result will be even more fascinating. We are going to record the zero. And don't forget, the administration, the Soludo Solution government has introduced
the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, has warned Nigerians against fake sites for the recruitment of teachers in the country. Speaking to newsmen in Abuja, the Commission's Public Relations Officer, David Ape, said recruitment sites making the rounds on social media were fake. Reports indicated that Nigerians have been visiting the recruitment site. Recall that the former Minister of State for Education, Yusuf Sunono, had earlier said the federal government will recruit 3,500 teachers for its unity colleges. Sunono, who spoke at a two-day National Stakeholders Forum on senior secondary education in Nigeria, said the recruitment would improve the country's quality of education. Reacting to the inability to log onto the sites, APA said such recruitment sites did not emanate from a commission, as there were no intention to recruit teachers for now. Appeal Court has affirmed Julius Abure, the Labour Party LP National Chairman. Notification of the Labour Party's ex-handle and a call to the Publicity Secretary of the party, Obiorefo, confirmed the development. A judgment stems from the appeals filed by Labour Party's Caretaker Committee, led by Senator Esther Nadi Usman, and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Latest judgment comes after a federal high court had earlier ruled that Abure is the rightful leader of the party. A ruling on the matter, a three-member panel of the appellate court, in a judgment delivered by Justice Hamabaka, held that Abure is a recognized national chairman of the Labour Party. According to the court, its judgment of November 13, 2024, which earlier recognized Abure as a national chairman, subsists and has not been set aside by any court. However, the appellate court held that it did not delve into the issue of the leadership of the Labour Party because such issues are not justiciable. While striking out a suit for want of jurisdiction, he held that the appellate relied on the previous judgment of November 13 last year to hold that Abure remains national chairman of the Labour Party. The Lagos State House of Assembly has named 4 new principal officers following the impeachment of a former speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, on Monday. The speaker, Mojishola Miranda, made this known while presiding over plenary as a new speaker. According to Miranda, the announcement of the new officers is as a result of a change of the leadership of the House. Mudashiru Obasa was impeached on Monday over alleged gross misconduct by 32 out of the 40 members. The clerk of the House, Leka Onafeko, was also suspended for over alleged gross financial impropriety. The House also dissolved all standing committees inaugurated by the former Speaker. The House has named Temitope Adewale as the new majority leader, while Adedamola Kasumu is the new deputy majority leader. The House also named the Chief Whip, Mr. Setonjob David, while the deputy Chief Whip is now Babatunde Sani. The Kano State government says it is committed to revive all abandoned gender garment clusters initiated by the administration of former Kano Rabiu Kwakwanso. Commissioner for Local Government Mohammed Tajo Othman gave the assurance on Friday in Kano. Othman expressed disappointment over the state of the centers across the 44 local government areas. He noted that the previous administration had abandoned the project, which was originally intended to create jobs and boost the state's economy. He said that the present administration was determined to revitalize all garment industries across the 44 local government areas in the state. Commissioner explained that the goal of the project was to provide jobs for the youth of Kano and stimulate economic growth. Dangote Petroleum Refinery has announced an upward review of its premium motor spirit PMS prices, commonly referred to as petrol, in response to escalating global crude oil prices. Refinery announced the new pricing structure in a statement, setting a new bulk purchase rate at 955 naira per litre for customers purchasing between 2 million and 4 naira 99 million litres. According to the statement, bulk buyers acquiring 5 million litres or more will now pay 950 naira per litre. This price adjustment reflects a 6.17% increase or 55.5 naira per litre compared to a discounted rate of 899 naira 50 kobo per litre offered during December 2024 holiday period. Statement added that the new rates took effect at 5:30 p.m. yesterday, impacting on all unsold stock balances and pending orders. According to the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, development was driven by market instability and uncertainties expected to continue in 2025. However, the Minister of State Petroleum Resources Oil, Senator Hanneken Lopobiri, on Thursday insisted that fluctuations in the pump price of petrol will be determined by the price of crude oil in international markets. Still to come, WHO upbeat on scaling up aid under Gaza ceasefire terms. Former home of Jewish leader vandalized, cars touched in Sydney. Stay with us.
We are local.
We are right now with the wife of the man that was...
Why the main market is in chaos? People are...
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye.
We have taken the vote by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Supporters of U.S. President-elect Donald Trump were undeterred by the news of inauguration taking place inside the U.S. Capitol on Monday, rather than outdoors because of severe cold. First time in 40 years that U.S. presidential inaugural ceremonies will be moved indoors. The last time an inauguration was moved indoors because of bitter cold was in 1985, former Republican President Ronald Reagan's second swearing-in, where the afternoon wind chill fell into the range of -10 to -20 degrees Fahrenheit. The forecast for Washington on Monday is for a temperature at the time of Trump's swearing-in around 19, but it is expected to feel even cooler with wind chill. Trump said supporters can view the ceremony on screens inside the Capital One Arena, professional basketball and hockey venue in downtown Washington that holds 20,000 people.
So if we're allowed to still come, we're going to be there. We support our president.
I was here on January 6th, and for everything that they said it wasn't. And I wanted to support my president again. Doesn't matter how cold it is. I came here to support this inauguration, and I came to support my God.
That's kind of a bummer. We're actually going up there to see if we could get tickets, because sometimes there's leftover tickets for people who didn't pick them up. So we were hoping we could get some of those from our congresswoman today. And then we're also hoping to see the parade and everything. I haven't heard if that's canceled yet or not. So
kind of funny to me. We could have just watched the live stream at home. Yeah. And we came all the way here, and reality's like, nope, you're still watching it.
Yeah, I've always wanted to be at an inauguration. So we would show up. We're prepared. We've got gloves and hats and scarves and coats. We're ready to go.
This is better.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. We're not worried at all about that. We know how to dress warm. We can be responsible. So
I've got 6 tickets, and 4 of us were supposed to go. But again, if we're going to be sitting there in the freezing cold, watching it on the screen when they're indoors, I think maybe we'll skip that. I mean, when I volunteered in 2016, it was so easy. This time, it's been a total nightmare. No information, telling us things at the last second. He has still not gotten his Secret Service clearance, and he's like the most honest person on the planet. It took them forever to clear me, and I've stood right in front of President Trump at all his rallies. They always pick me. I stand right in front of him to not have people come in front of him. I didn't get any of my information until like yesterday. So it's very poorly run. I would like that because it would be nice to see people supporting the president with everything that he went through, it would be nice. It's so weird that it's just these 2 days that are going to be nasty.
Hamas is expected to release the first hostages under a Gaza ceasefire deal on Sunday, said Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office. If successful, the ceasefire would have fighting that has raised much of heavily urbanized Gaza, killing over 46,000 people, and displaced most of the tiny enclave's pre-war population of 2.3 million, several times over, according to local authorities. Israeli cabinets made to give final approval on the deal. A World Health Organization official said that it should be possible to scale up aid imports into Gaza massively to around 600 trucks a day under the terms of a ceasefire deal. The aid surge requires more than a 10-fold daily increase in lorries from a daily average of 51 that UN data shows entered the enclave in early January. Critical details of the scale-up are still to be worked out, aid workers say, with details of how to improve security being one of the main outstanding concerns. WHO plans to bring in an unspecified number of prefabricated hospitals to support Gaza's decimated health sector over the next 2 months. Pickerton said currently only about half of Gaza's 36 hospitals are partially functional, according to the WHO. Pickerton said he expected a ceasefire to allow for more medical evacuations for the over 12,000 patients currently on the waiting list, from around a third are children.
The ceasefire process starts on Sunday, and the UN and partners are very much planning to prioritize as much as possible. You've seen in the documents the targets to get between 500 and 600 trucks in per day over the coming weeks and during those phases. That would be a huge increase of the 40 to 50 what we have seen over the last months. So that would be an enormous increase. If those obstructions are taken away, and we will have more entrances into Gaza, and indeed there are many trucks already ready. I mean, again, let's say no one will know if straight away will be 600s, but I think the possibility is very much there that this can be built up very rapidly.
Palestinians gathered at a soup kitchen in Gaza's Khan Yunis, attempting to receive cooked meals as they wait for the Israeli-Hamas announced ceasefire deal to come into effect on Sunday. Young children stood among the crowds, with many struggling to get their hands on empty pots on a hot meal. Ceasefire accord emerged on Wednesday after mediation by Qatar, Egypt, and the United States. The deal includes the release of hostages and Palestinian prisoners, as well as a gradual withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza. If successful, the ceasefire would halt fighting between Hamas and Israeli forces that has raised much of heavily urbanized Gaza, killing more than 46,000 people and displaced most of the enclave's pre-war population of 2.3 million. It also paves the way for a surge in humanitarian aid for the coastal strip, where the majority of the population has been displaced and face hunger, sickness, and cold. French President Emmanuel Macron arrived in Lebanon to help speed up the formation of a government that can quickly implement reforms and open the door to reconstruction following last year's war between Israel and Hezbollah. Since the truce brokered by France and the United States in November, Paris has played a key role in helping break Lebanon's political deadlock, along with the United States and Saudi Arabia, that has now led to a new president and prime minister. Macron is the first foreign head of state to visit Beirut since Aoun was elected and Nawaf Salam was designated as prime minister. As a former French protectorate, Beirut has strong historical ties with Paris, but the relationship has been complicated in recent years. Macron expresses support to Aoun's goal of sovereignty, which the French leader said was a precondition for lasting ceasefire with Israel.
Last January 9th, in the middle of winter, spring appeared. And you are this hope, and the appointed Prime Minister concretizes this hope by your side. Mr. President, France, which has been by the side of dear Lebanon during these hard years when flowers were few, will be even more committed by your side, by the side of the Lebanese people to help you succeed on this path. First, we will support your goal for a sovereign Lebanon and a state who has the authority to exercise this sovereignty everywhere in its territory. I believe this is the first goal that you are promoting, and it is essential. This is a precondition for keeping Lebanon away from interference and various aggressions, at a time when the region is experiencing enormous shakeups. This is also a precondition for making the ceasefire concluded with Israel last. Results have been obtained, a first Israeli withdrawal in the west, but it should speed up and be ensured to last, and we need a total withdrawal of Israeli forces and a total monopoly on arms of the Lebanese army. This is why we support, let me say this firmly, the ramping up of the Lebanese army and their deployment in the south of the country. The Lebanese military forces constitute a pillar of Lebanon's sovereignty, an indispensable actor to make sure the ceasefire is respected, and so we should continue speeding up the recruitment, consolidate international support in terms of equipment, training, and financial support.
It may take a long time to talk about what our country needs now in politics, economy, security, and various fields, but today, in the name of my people and in my own name, I hope from you, Mr. President, only one thing, that you testify to the whole world that the confidence of the Lebanese in their country and state has returned, and that the world's confidence in Lebanon must return completely because the true, authentic Lebanon has returned. As for everything else, we, you and our friends in the world are capable of it. Mr. President, the French writer Jean Genet once said about us that Lebanon is a country where we learn how to live and especially how to die. Today I tell you that we have completed the second part of this education fully and there is no turning back. From now on, we are seekers of a life with no death in it.
Lebanon's armed forces aim to strengthen across the country and take control of the country's south as part of a 60-day truce plan that should see Israeli troops withdraw by the end of January. Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed Mustafa met with EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas in Brussels after a ceasefire and hostage release deal was announced to bring an end to 15 months of war between Israel and Hamas. Complex ceasefire accord emerged on Wednesday after mediation by Qatar, Egypt and the US to stop the war that has devastated the coastal territory and inflamed the Middle East. Palestinians inspected the damage to a tent for displaced people in the aftermath of an Israeli strike in Khan Yunis. Nearby people in Al-Aqsa Hospital mourned and prayed over bodies of loved ones killed in the Israeli strike. A home in Sydney, previously owned by a senior Jewish community leader, was vandalized. 2 cars were set alight with one sprayed paint with an anti-Semitic slur. Attack, the third targeting the Jewish community in Sydney in 2 months, happened at a property once owned by Alex Rivchin, the co-chief executive of Executive Council of Australian Jewry, New South Wales Premier Chris Mains.
These are horrifying anti-Semitic attacks. They're violent. I think they've shocked the people of New South Wales and Australia. And honestly, I never thought I would see this kind of naked racism and anti-Semitism repeating itself on the streets of Sydney in such an organised, horrifying manner. I also want to make it clear that police are directing a huge amount of resources at this operation. Strike Force Pearl has 20 detectives working on anti-Semitic violent attacks in our community full-time.
Australia has seen a rise in anti-Semitic and Islamophobic incidents since Israel retaliated against an attack by militant Palestinian group Hamas on October 7, 2023, with an assault on Gaza that has left tens of thousands of people dead. The Kremlin said that it will study the details of Ukraine's new 100-year agreement with the United Kingdom. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov called the idea of British military bases in Ukraine worrying and said that Moscow views negatively prospects of British cooperation with Ukraine in the Sea of Azov, calling it Russia's internal sea.
Given that Britain is a NATO country, the advancement of its military infrastructure towards our borders is certainly a rather disturbing element. In any case, it will be necessary to further analyze what will happen. Negatively. This is truly an internal sea of Russia, and there can hardly be any talk of cooperation between Ukraine and Great Britain there, in the Sea of Azov.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer pledged on Thursday to work with Ukraine and allies to offer Kiev security guarantees if a ceasefire is negotiated with Russia, and offering more support through a 100-year partnership deal. And that's the news this hour. Thank you for watching. I am Barry Kumo Ado. New day.
what we are doing in Nigeria is a lot of people are taking risks. And in business, yes, they say, don't fear, take risks so that you grow. But you don't see the risks there and you jump into it. Say you have been told to take risks. It's when it is unimaginable. You don't imagine it. You don't foresee it. But these days, I pity people who are doing any type of business in Nigeria. Is it, if you rely on energy, I think in one of the stations I was privileged to appear, one of the broadcast media, I was, the MD was, we were discussing informally. He was telling me, say, Louis, to run this business is no longer for. What is he spends on diesel alone on weekly basis, on weekly basis, can pay his staff, all of them. So imagine that kind of, what kind of business are you running? Are you running a charity home? Apart from the issue of technology, energy, that government agents, you see somebody, a woman who is selling mango, fruits, they will come, you see another person standing, a man, once it is 10, Madam will take go, that's Madam, bring money. What for? Some of them are agents of government. Some of them are friends of government, touts, used in the election. So they can look elsewhere. Security operatives will look elsewhere when you are undermining somebody's interest. So I wonder when people do business, it's like, in Nigeria today, it's like, well, we have come out, we have
A beautiful morning to you today, 18th day of January 2025. We're already halfway through the month of January, and it kind of reminds me of a nursery rhyme that says, tick says the clock, tick, tick, what you have to do quick. So get on with whatever plans you have for the year. Welcome to New Day on Signature Television. Don't forget to go on over to our social media platforms, go like, comment, share, and of course subscribe. We're going on a very short break. When we come back, we will come back with newspaper headlines and reviews. Do stay with us. Thank you for still joining us this morning. Welcome to our newspaper headlines and review. First up on the National Daily's Punch newspaper. On Saturday Punch, right above the mast, are success secrets coming from 18 Unilag female first class graduates. And then below the mast, petrol pump price surges 1,150 naira after Dangote hike, with a rider that says brace for more price raise coming from marketers. And then accidental discharge, grieving families helpless as killer cops revel in freedom. Why I've not remarried 4 years after my wife's death, coming from Oba Ajayi. And then finally on the Saturday Punch, Ogun community raises the alarm after gunmen abduct retired AIG's wife. Next up, Weekend Trusts. How I became DG of FRCN and NTA, Alhaji Mohammed Ibrahim, and inside Kano's 15 milliliter cow milk business on pages 12 and 20 respectively, and how Tinubu governor struck deal on tax bills, with riders ASU kicks, Afenifere urges caution, ACF Igbo group hail adjustments, and Dangote increases fuel price to 955 naira per litre on page 4 of the Weekend Trust. Then the Saturday Times, and above the masts, we saved Nigeria 1.9 trillion naira fraud coming from DG, and PSC promotes AIG Lawal to head Southwest Zone as DIG. Below the mast, APC alleges marginalization on North Central in regional budgets. Ghana president reduces ministries to cut costs. Why my dad bought me out of record deal coming from Davido. Reps query FFS, I beg your pardon, over budget discrepancies. And PDP National Working Committee sing discordant tunes over Anyanwu. Finally, on the Saturday Times, on 2025 budget, reps task MBTE on performance. Security rescues 18 kidnappers in Plateau. Moving over to the Nation Saturday, vandals plunge 60% of Abuja into darkness. Still 132 kV underground cables, and my office is in distress, says Adelabu. Mbata's kinsmen move against him as new Ohaneze, with riders strip him of all Ikwere chieftaincy titles and others. Obako Ikwere IPC Wechi trade words over Igbo identity. And below the Nation mast, lack of banking details delay first direct LG allocations, with rider that said 774 local governments to receive 361 billion naira. You can find this on page 4 of the Saturday Nation. Police comb Ogun swamp for abducted retired AIG's wife. AMCON raises the alarm over 4 trillion naira debts. Soldiers sentenced to death for mutiny will leave ordeal. On tax reform bills, Tinubu hails governors over support. And finally, on the Nation Saturday, Nigeria's GDP to grow by 3.6% in 2025, coming from the World Bank. And to the Guardian weekend, on the foreign scene, return of Trump and revival of ideological confrontations among nations. On 2027, I beg your pardon, tracking the underground plot for Abdul Razak's successor by Kwara APC and PDP. Below the Guardian weekend mast, danger looms as fake drugs, harmful food flood markets. And finally, on the Guardian, Winnie Group plans first AI varsity in Nigeria to boost Africa's tech abduction lessons Tinubu needs from mission to UAE. And then on the Tribune, rift in PDP deepens, with rider that says party disowns deputy spokesperson over press conference. Tinubu commends governor's support for tax reform and wants NAS to hasten action on bills. Both news items can be found on page 3 and 6 respectively. Below the mass, a laughing strew. All your Mercy members were present when I consulted IFA, coming from Professor Wande Abimbola, speaks on how Islam got to Yoruba land on pages 8 and 25 of the Saturday Tribune. Screening politicians for drugs has started in some states, Marwa says, and the NDLEA boss says agency secured 17,670 arrests, 3,427 convictions in 2024. And how Lagos gangs killing Uber drivers operate, coming from the police, and why they target us, coming from operators. Finally, on the Saturday Tribune, 4 killed as Ondo communities clash over boundary. On the blueprints, Tinubu commends governors for supporting tax reform initiatives. And after COVID-19, Nigerians anxious as human metapneumovirus spreads globally. Rider that says, with measures in place to arrest HMPV at entry point, we are fully prepared to tackle any disease outbreak, coming from NIMR. The disease, not variant of COVID-19, coming from National Orientation Agency, can be found on pages 8 and 9 of the Blueprint Weekend. Domestic equity closes higher gains, 542 billion naira. Society in fragments because there's no love, coming from Irefi. Middle East tensions, Israel set to endorse Gaza ceasefire and hostage deal. I inspire change through stories of resilience and gender justice, coming from Ejiro. And finally, on the Blueprint Weekend, tax reforms, northern stakeholders warn against politicking, blackmailing Tinubu's intention. And finally, on Saturday, Vanguard, why I committed over 1.5 billion naira to humanitarian causes in 2024, coming from Peter Obi. On Edo Igodalo, PDP tender over 1,000 documents against Okpebolo's victory. On 2026 World Cup, Nigeria will not qualify for the 2026 World Cup finals. Agree or disagree with this in not more than 250 words. This is, of course, an essay. And still on Saturday, Vanguard, we are not Igbo. Rivers Group strips Mbata of all titles for Imagine Ohaneze president. Still on the retired AIG's wife's kidnapped inside her home. And Tinubu commends Abdul Razak, other governors, for supporting tax reform initiatives. Abuja is thrown into darkness. And then finally, on the Saturday Vanguard, stop medical tourism, develop our hospitals, Nigerians tell Tinubu, on page 10 of the Saturday Vanguard. And Dangote Refinery raises petrol price to 955 naira per litre. We have come to the end of our weekend newspaper headlines, and we'll move over quickly to our reviews. And of course, Chris Madoka is in the studio to do justice to that. Good morning, Chris. Good morning this beautiful morning.
Good morning, Chigi. Good morning this beautiful morning.
Absolutely. We read quite a lot of headlines that made the news on the national dailies. What would you say was the first that struck your curiosity? Maybe we can start with that.
Well, and the Punch, because we started with Punch, the Igbo say that to start from the beginning is better than anything. To start from the beginning is better than to even go spiritual. It's a petrol pump price hike. Brace up for more price
raise.
And that is interesting. at the point we are saying that there's not enough sickness to go around. And they are saying the man who has a hernia, swollen scrotum, should also have a swollen stomach.
More like double wahala for the body.
That is a proverb of bone and silence. And I say, no yezu kasonye dali binyato abafo. That is incredible. So where are we going? I hate to start my day with any issue on oil and gas and petrol, NNPCL, Dangote, because it spoils my day.
But we still have to talk about what we need to talk about.
We have been crying and shouting, it's like a lone voice, that there is high level of insincerity and secrecy, glitch, whatever, everything that is bad going around the oil and gas. Now, there is hike in price by Dangote.
Yes.
Because the people cannot lift his refined product. So the cost of storage is adding up to the cost of production.
Sure.
And the young man is a businessman who the environment of Nigeria, and that's corrupt environment, corrupt business environment that surrounds gas, oil and gas, has not allowed to really make Nigeria benefit from his citing his industry in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So they are all doing all they can to make sure that they will not justify why we should have a working refinery in Nigeria. And to say, why is everybody running around Dangote? What happened to the Port Harcourt refinery that said they even insulted the OBJ, our Reverend OBJ, to come and see
for himself
that they started working. Where is the result? They also say Warri refinery is working. Why are they running around Dangote?
I was going to ask.
Why are they using all the Dangote to fix
why is Dangote's price in a benchmark?
What is happening? Don't that tell you? Do they think they are talking to fools? I know Nigerians are restless, but everything in this world has a limit. I'm not predicting nothing. But if what is happening in recent past continue in the nearest future, I bet you the people that are involved will have their life to regret. I don't know how long this, you know what hardship and hunger surrounds this, all the policies that come in from an establishment called Nigeria has pushed Nigerians to. Because we can only look at this, what is happening, this is happening. Nobody is looking at this sickness. We're looking at, okay, the symptoms. What is causing this sickness? Nobody is interested. Hardship and hunger yesterday in the top Nigerian headline, newspaper headlines, has driven Nigerians to do unheard of things that you can never believe even Nigerians can do. Beyond turning them to being inhuman, it has reduced them to the barest level of animal, the lowest animal on earth. Find Nigerians scavenging for food at the dustbins. You see, young Nigerians, though they live picking plastics, split bottles to make a living. And you say, tell me that's the leg, the nama we used to reach Umuahia. And some people are watching. They will have conscience to come to the street to ask for votes. Anyway, they don't come to ask for vote again. That's why this thing is happening. Because if anybody anywhere hanging, hoping that they will come back and ask Nigerians for vote, you will look at it. But since they do not ask for vote again, they perfected corrupt system in a corrupt society, in a fantastically corrupt nation, how to get back to power anytime they want. So they don't need you. As far as they're concerned, you can wallow in, well, if there's anything lower than penury. Because if you say poverty, it has levels. But abject penury reduces you to a level of animal, the lowest peak
And then they're also saying to watch out for more hikes.
Yeah. Tax bill deal. Tinubu and the federal government is negotiating a lot of deals. And you now find that is tax bill another political campaign to occupy any office? If the federal government meant so much good for Nigeria with tax bill reform, why negotiating deals? Why going into horse trading? Why?
No, there were a lot of backlash when the bill came up at first.
Bring people to a stakeholder conference.
I believe they are.
Going into secret horse trading and deals. That's what the headline we're reviewing say.
Okay.
In Punch, tax bill deal. Why deal? Why dealing with a horse? If you say you're engaging the stakeholders for dialogue, let's arrive at a balance. You know, cut the bone, join the flesh here, cut the bone, join the flesh here. Let's have balance and move on as a nation. We will understand. But if you enter into a deal and lobby, it means it has become another political campaign.
Okay.
I rest my case on that.
All right. Can we talk a little bit about the backlash Senator Mbata is getting since he won the...
Well, ladies, there are so much. For God's sake, I am an Igbo man. And I am proud an Igbo man. I've never in any of my life begged anybody to be Igbo. You can't be Igbo by force. You see that you are Igbo by coercion and willingness to be part of Igbo. And you can pull out on not being Igbo and be whatever you want to be. But you still do not have the power to stop anybody who wants to be Igbo from not being. Whatever group you are, is it group that makes people Igbo? Senator Azuta Mbata say he's an Igbo man. And he has been a member of Ohaneze. And Ohaneze deemed fit in their constitution that was not written today to cede presidency to go around all the states that belongs to. And meanwhile, it's not only Ikweres from rivers that are members of Igbo from that part of the country. Now there's so much wood about it. Let them leave the young man alone. He says he's an Igbo. He can be an Igbo Ohaneze made him their president. So once he finishes his tenure, he go back and become whatever he want to become. But for now, he says he's an Igbo man. If you are not an Igbo, pull out, because this noise they are making, they are only making themselves look stupid. And I bet myself to say they are just making hell out of, nothing out of Bristol. Somebody say I'm an Igbo and I won the election. So you can only sanction him in your own secret. There's no this noise about stripping and do what. If you strip him from all the titles you're giving him as Ikwere man, you cannot strip him from the title he has gotten as president of Ohaneze. Because Azuta Mbata has a right to decide which one that is more important to him. Is it the title you gave him as Ikwere man, or the one that you gave him as a president of Ohaneze Global? For one thing, he's not supposed to be president of Ikwere Nzuko Ikwere. And why did they call it Nzuko Ikwere if they're not Igbo? That's by the way.
I was wondering the same thing. I was wondering the same thing.
If I go into that, he's giving impetus to nothing. Okay. Because getting annoyed. They have said this and nobody is quarreling with it. You are free to be whatever you just
there is freedom of association, by the way.
This man has associated, become Igbo man by association or whatever, but he feels he can write his own history.
And his name is
Azuka. He's an old man that has been to the Senate.
Yes.
He's a statesman by all ramifications. He knows what he is, and he's a man that runs his family and his life. He has the history of his lineage and who he is. And somebody somewhere, and that's why I don't understand about Nigeria. They are making fuse about nothing. The only thing you can do is, we are not Igbo. Simple. The man, then leave the, let's take the ones who are Igbo, they belong to Igbo. The ones who are not Igbo belongs to them. If you go into making hell out of nothing, it's nonsense. Because speaking about what is Ikwere, what does it mean? Is it Igbo, Hausa, or Fulani? Whatever it is, I don't care. Everybody is free. But if you, in your stupidity, stopping somebody from not still exploring his own freedom, then something is wrong with that person. That person is satanic. Why are they building tension? Small time now, this nonsense, somebody somewhere will put this tension, will start having issues. Ikwere brothers and sisters have existed on their own. They don't have any issue with Igbo people. A lot of Ikwere people are living in Igbo land, the so-called Igbo land they are not, and a lot of Igbo people are living in Ikwere land, which and there's no issue. Let who is the president of Ohanese global, not the president of Obako Ikwere. It's only when the person who want to contest for Obako Ikwere, like me, if I want to do that, you can come up and say, I am not this, and then I pull up. Depending on the constitution of Obako Ikwere. Because if you go to the constitution of Obako Ikwere and the court interprets it, a lot of these people making noise now might be wrong. Because you have to decide in Nigeria who is an Ikwere man. Some of these things are out of ignorance. We are not going forward. Because in 2025, somebody who thinks he's a progressive Nigerian will be talking about this. Some of them, but what? If you're married to a Ikwere woman, and you have children, if I'm an Igbo man now, I marry Ikwere, and I marry Ikwere, and my children have issues, the culture of Ikwere people is that when my children have issues, they will run back to their maternal,
yes.
And then they give them land to occupy. What happened to some of those people who have such issues and they run back to Ikwere land? When it's time to become Obako, they will welcome them. When it's this issue that's coming, what is so much noise that Ikwere man? Is it not even a credit that somebody, if what of you is a Fulani man that the constitution of permits to be, will they be fighting? I don't understand. You see, it shows friendly neighbors that has a lot of relationship that could. You are pushing it to this level. Very soon it will become a tension, and people start losing their life over nothing, for nothing. The man did not beg. He has the potential I don't know who voted for him. The Ohanese people voted. It's not the Ikwere people that voted for him. So he didn't need their vote to be there. So what is your headache?
Actually, Ohanese asked them to bring their candidates.
And a lot of candidates from there. Well, they were, when they bring candidates, it's among them.
Even Michael Kiro.
It's among them. There were a lot of horse trading. They even decide to say, this one is not Ikwere. At the end of it all, they brought a lot of candidates there, and Ohanese voted the man that won, and now. I don't want this one to hear about.
All right.
It's funny. When Nigerians will see the substance and they pursue shadow, is it this thing that is holding the development of Ikwere land? Is it that what is holding Igbos from really reaching our peak? That tells you that two friends, the two people that are closest neighbor, maybe they are not brothers. If you want to be Igbo, you be. But Igbo, Ikwere, assuming they have two banana to share, they will be struggling which one will take the big one, and then somebody from northeast to northwest will come and share banana for them. And that's what is getting to. They will make sure that this region, somebody is assuring that this region does not have peace, so that they will achieve what they want to achieve. Over time, they've almost getting that. And this little thing now, they are pushing it. Before you know it, they will say, I don't know.
So let's leave that and move over
in the Times. He said, we saved Nigeria 1.9 million from fraud. Kudos. But the second one I'm interested from Times is Ghana president to reduce ministry to cut governance costs. We have always said, let the blacksmith who doesn't know how to make metal gong look at the tail
of the kite.
Do you still want me to sew for that?
Please, for the benefit
in Africa, it's not just an Igbo land. Why should I, as an oracle, I give you a proverb? The people say, if I explain any proverb to you, it means the money we use, the bright price paid on your mother's head is useless. I'm sorry, I don't want to go that direct. Okay, what it means is, assuming our closest neighbor, Ghana, that shares a lot of political, religious, economic, relationship resemblance, is doing this. And we see and it's being applauded, and they find the reason to do what they're doing. Why is Nigeria at this level of hardship and hunger? We maintain over, I think ours is over 40-something ministries. And before this election, there has been shouting, and nobody is talking about that, of reduction in governance, cost of governance. That is high. That somebody working at the National Assembly is earning over 21 million. That one has gone silent. Nobody's talking about. We shouted and shouted. It's like, because it's not you, that's why you're shouting. But imagine the number of the 109 senators. Put how many millions in a month they take home tax free. That is the leg now go take Rich Umuahia. And you are looking for our problem from far. Why should we have so much ministries? And the Ghana has taken bold steps to reduce it, to cut down. Because the money I was taught in primary economics, you did not spend, you have saved it. Any money you did not spend.
Enough said on that.
Yes.
But we have very limited time now. I wanted us to talk about this lack of banking details as the reason for delays.
I would not have been happy if I didn't talk about my love for the LG autonomy. Now,
you think
what is the lack of banking details?
You think this is a flimsy excuse?
I think it's flimsy. It won't take nothing to open a bank account for Idemili South.
I was wondering the same thing myself.
And the Idemili South local government area, what account have they been using? I'm using my own local government as an example. That local government has existed, for as far as I know, for more than 20 years. So, are you saying that they don't have an account? So how do they get allocations they get earlier from federal government?
Good question.
Does it mean, okay, probably because the state governors have co-signatories, because they made them co-signatories, if you must get to Enugu, you must pass a 9th man. They don't want you to pass through Udi and Four Corner. So they have made it possible that once any money is coming, it must pass through the state capital. Now that is what may be the hint. But it's a simple thing. The banks know how to change signatories.
Absolutely.
If anybody want to sleep with a house girl that his mother brought, you better go sleep with your house mother. Don't tell anybody excuse that I slept with her because he walked past in front of me. That he carried that thing and walked in front of me. Sleep with your house girl if you want to. Don't give us flimsy excuse. The federal government, as far as I know, can even on themselves step into this. The AGF can help the local governments get a new account in less than 1 hour. And all the banks will dive at it because they know what is there for them. So what is it? It shouldn't be let. Because suddenly I find the presidency going back on their words. They were pushing for local government autonomy. Suddenly they start apologizing to the governors that we are not trying to take local government from you. What? Nobody is taking nothing from them. The local government is autonomous arm of government of Nigeria. Wherever they have link and the oversight function with the state should be streamlined. After all, nobody is